Hi, I'm Mike, and today the cows get one free lunch as we continue taking a look at our winter grazing program and how this cold snap here in October is affecting it. It's all coming up today on Our Wyoming Life. Yeah, I hear you. Hi guys, good morning and well, good evening or afternoon or wherever you may be. Thanks for coming along with us once again as we continue to explore the ranch life and escape the ordinary. If this is your first time here, please take a look at that subscribe button. You can follow along as we head into winter here on the ranch in Northeast Wyoming, taking a look at everything from feeding to the cows themselves. Calving's not too far away if you really think about it, and a whole lot more as we get a chance to explore the ranch life 2 times a week, hopefully, right here on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit the bell button so hopefully you get notified when new videos come out as well. Again, thanks for coming along with us today. It's a little bit later in the afternoon. Well, it's a little bit afternoon than I would normally be filming, especially what we're going to be taking a look at today, and that is feeding the cows here during this little bit of a cold snap that we have going on here in Northeast Wyoming. Now, last night the temperature got down to about -5 degrees. Wind chills dipped down to about -22. That's pretty dang cold. And this morning when I went out to go do what we're going to do now, I found out very quickly that cameras don't like the cold. I think I learned that lesson last year too. But we went out to film, not going to work. So we decided to wait, push it off just a little bit, and bring you along with me now as we're going to go out, we're going to feed the cows, and we're going to take a look at how this winter grazing program really is working here on the ranch. Because last week we knew this storm was coming. We got about 4 inches of snow out of it, 3 inches prior to that, so we're already at about 7 inches of snow already this winter. And we weren't sure how the cows would react. They were back on summer pasture, and we decided that we should probably bring them back closer to home so that they're a little bit safer. So they've got more shelter. They've got shelter belts. They've got the barn here at home. And what that did was actually threw a wrench in our winter grazing program, which is in effect now because we had a drought this year and we weren't able to harvest any hay. We want to make sure that the cows harvest as much as they can that we weren't able to harvest, and that means moving them through hay fields that we didn't get a chance to cut and letting them eat those off. Now, because we brought them back a little bit early, that means we have to push them back to summer pasture as soon as this little cold snap is over with. In fact, it should be. Tomorrow we're looking at highs up in the 30s. I think we're in the 40s and 50s even by the middle part of the week. So we want to make sure that that we get through this little cold snap, and then we're going to push the cows back. But one of the big questions that we had, and a lot of comments that we had in our last video, was the fact that if we start feeding the cows, then we start causing problems, because then cows want to be fed. We know that. Cows are lazy, just like a lot of us. So we'll take a free meal over having to go out and get it ourselves. So the cows haven't really been fed a whole lot. We have been supplementing their feed. They have still been going out and grazing. In fact, I was ecstatic this morning when I went out to check the cows, and they were back in the hayfield. As cold as it was, that they went back to the hayfield to go ahead and graze their own dinner, which was very impressive to me. And it is exactly what we've been working towards here on the ranch for quite a few years, and that is trying to get the cows to be a little bit more self-sufficient, being able to graze better and make better use of the land that we have here in Northeast Wyoming. Because even though we have tons of land, tons of acreage, over 5,000 acres in which to deal with here on the ranch, and that seems like a lot for this area that we have to deal with the stocking rate, and that is about 35 acres for a cow-calf pair. That's based on how much grass that we can grow in order to feed the cows all year round. So when it comes down to it, it's really no different no matter where you're at. It comes down to being able to use that stocking rate, which is the variable that any ranch is going to have to deal with, and make that work within your system. And if we can make the cows do it more efficiently, I'm all for that. Make them do the work and make them be an active part of the ranch rather than kind of sitting around and waiting for a handout. So we want those cows to go out and graze graze as efficiently as possible. And surprisingly enough, it is actually happening here on the ranch with almost a foot of snow on the ground. We have this wonderful thing that's happening, and honestly, I don't think it's not really miraculous. It's nature. For however many thousands of years, buffalo roamed this part of Wyoming. And those buffalo, they ate. They ate whether it was winter or summer, and really they had nobody out here taking care of them for all that time. So when we look at cows, who are domesticated, of course, there are those instincts in there. I can guarantee it. So this kind of stuff that happens out here, when we try to do something different, we try to change something, and we find out that it actually works, it's more, it's inside the cows. It's their instinct. It's their instinct to eat, and they're going to eat no matter what. They're going to figure it out. If a water tank isn't accessible, they're going to go eat snow. We know that. We know that happens. Cows know that snow is water. They'll go and eat it. And that's what they did for thousands of years. So this shouldn't surprise me as much as it probably does. But the cows did go back to the hay fields and that kind of stuff. But that still doesn't stop us from having to go out and feed them. We are going to go out today and at least put down one bale. We're going to see kind of what happens. I'm kind of interested to see how many cows come back for feed, because like I said, a free meal is way easier than going out and working for it. But what we are doing is we're supplementing the feed for the cows, and we're going to go out and get a bale. We're going to do that now and take a look and see what happens. One thing that always amazes me is that when the cows hear the tractor start, they do tend to, they have great hearing apparently, and they do start to come towards the tractor. Like I said, a free meal, and we can already see a few cows, I was going to say a few tractors, but a few cows that are starting to work their way that weren't here probably 5 minutes ago. I looked out the window, there was no cows standing out here. Now there's a few that see the tractor and they kind of know what's coming. So I think what we'll do today is we don't have a majority of the cows here. Like I said, a lot of them are still way back there in the hayfield. At least half of them are back there. So if I fed 2 bales yesterday, I can probably just feed a single bale today, and we'll see how that works out. One thing you may notice is on the back of the tractor here, I have no spooler. The spooler is sitting somewhere, busted, broken after last year. Last year, if you remember, we ended up getting our spooler, which is the deal that unrolls the bale. There you go. Is actually made for 5-foot bales. We ended up getting 4-foot bales last year, and I fed those. The problem with them being on the wrong size spooler was that they beat the crap out of that spooler, and now it is basically busted and broken and needs to be rebuilt. So that's still on my list. Obviously, once we get past this little bit of a cold snap, hopefully I won't have to feed for a little bit, and I'll be able to get that thing maybe welded back together. But for right now, I've got the old-fashioned way to unroll bales. I'm going to show you how we do that, and we're going to grab the single bale. We're going to go out and feed these guys that are here waiting for their, I guess it'd be lunch at this point, since we're a little bit behind, but we'll get them fed. This is all hay that's been purchased by the ranch so far up to this point to be able to feed these guys over the winter. It's less than we would normally need. It's less than what we would have harvested off the ranch if we would have had a decent hay crop this year, but we we're going to make do with what we have and what we can afford. As always, we got to cut the net wrap off of the bale. That makes no difference whether we're feeding it this way or feeding it with a spooler or an unroller or whatever it's called. We got a few impatient folks here. All right, so we got our bale, and now we can go feed the cows. Let's see if you put it in drive. So every time I do a video where I'm talking about feeding the cows, I'm always reminded of the very first video that we put out on YouTube, which was feeding the cows. It was about 4.5 minutes long. Most of you guys have probably seen it, but it's amazing how much things have changed in 3 years, not only with us and our family and all that good stuff, but also just in the way that we ranch. That, you know, how much your perspective and your attitude and just the way that you want things to work and how you want the future to fall can change in just a matter of just a couple of years. It's actually pretty impressive, and I've seen it firsthand from our viewpoint. So okay, so we're out here now. We've got a few cows that are coming in to see what we're doing. They're the ones that are here for the free lunch. Of course, they go ahead and help themselves. But what we have to do, at least this time feeding, is figure out how to roll this out for 50 or so cows. And make it fair. And to do that, we're just going to use the bucket of the tractor to push this bale along and basically do exactly what we would do with our spooler, but with the bucket of the tractor. The last little bit though, you still have to do the old-fashioned way. So there we have it. Nice, cool, crisp noontime meal, I guess, for these cows. About 50 of them anyway. They're going to come in and grab something to eat this afternoon. We still have the rest of the herd is still way back over that hill over there. I don't even know if you can see them. And this is a good indication. This is what we want. Supplementary feeding. And not all the cows are coming in. You see a few more are still working their way this way, but we'll take a look a little bit later on this afternoon and see how many actually come in, because we do not want to overfeed. Anything we're overfeeding, anything that the cows don't need today is considered waste. Even if they do eat it, they clean it up, they'll eat it just because they don't know what tomorrow's going to look like. They don't have a weather guesser like we do. So that's it for today. Taking a step back, taking a look at feeding the cows, supplementing the cows. This week we'll actually be moving them hopefully back to summer pasture, but also this week we get a chance to take a look for the very first time at Halloween right here on the ranch. And what does that mean for us? Well, that means we do a little ghost busting, or at least some ghost hunting on the ranch. That's coming up on Friday, as we're going to go and take a look at a couple of, I'm going to tell you some stories, number one, but we're also going to look at some of the more likely to be haunted areas of the ranch. That's coming up on Friday. I hope that you can subscribe. Come along with us as we explore the ranch life and escape the ordinary out here in the very, 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 very bright pastures, snow-covered pastures of Northeast Wyoming. Thanks, guys, for coming along with us. We'll see you on Friday right here on Our Wyoming Life. Ow, it hurts my eyes.